Shemai, we're out for an early morning walk this morning, and we've been really fortunate because we've stumbled upon some of the most recognisable fungi, and it's the fly agaric. It's Amanita muscaria, and it's in Welsh it's Amanita goibed, and here they are down here. Now these are just on the edge of a woodland here, and they generally are found growing near silver birch, which we've got at the edge of the wood here, or in coniferous forests or pine plantations. So these are really distinctive, and the cap always starts this spherical sort of dome shape at first, and then flattening slightly and actually becoming slightly dish-shaped or bowl-shaped as it gets older. And you can see here some of these older ones that have already tipped over, and there we are. And you can see that kind of that dish shape there. And they're bright orange or sort of scarlet red colour. And they have these distinctive sort of pyramid warts on the top of them. Now the ones that we looked at by there, and actually it's quite useful because you can see how it's happened. The warts can be washed off by the rain, and they can leave the cap almost smooth. And you can just see how those sort of warts have been washed down on this one, down to the base, and how they're just hanging around on that one there and that one there, they're almost gone. Now that's a really important thing to know, because there is a similar mushroom. This one's really toxic, really poisonous. And there is a similar mushroom, fungi, Caesar's fungi, that is actually edible and eaten a lot in sort of restaurants in Europe, in Italy, and you really don't want to be getting these confused. So you need to know exactly what you're looking at. Now the stem can be anywhere between sort of 8 to 20 centimetres long, really. You can see just how tall those older ones are there, and they're about 1 to 2 centimetres across. They also have a bulbous base, a volva, and just see if we can get down and have a look at this one here. Oh, you can see it's been partly eaten away on that one. I'll just see if we can see. So basically the stem swells to like a bulb underneath there, and they have this sort of white membranous kind of ring, and you can just make it out there, and then this kind of veil leaves like a shaggy kind of effect on the stem. And if I go back to the bigger ones, you can see what I mean. There we are, you can just see it on that one there. So it goes from being smooth, and you can see where the sort of veil was on there, and it's left this kind of shaggy effect on it by there. Now the flesh, if we were to cut it open, it's generally white, but just under the cap here, if we cut through there, it would be tinged with red or yellow just below that cuticle, below that sort of skin. Now the gills underneath, we'll have a look at this one over here. The gills are they're described as free, so they're not joined together. So if you look at, well, you can see where it's been eaten away, but the gills around there are not connected. And if we were to leave that on a piece of paper, like we did with the field mushroom, the spores are white, and it would leave a white spore print. Now it's thought that the name fly agaric comes from the fact that this is poisonous, and it was used years ago. It was broken up. The cap was broken and put into milk, and it would attract flies, and because of the nature of it, it would then poison the flies, and it was used in places like dairies and milking sheds. But I've also read that may not necessarily be the case. Now I've already said that it is poisonous, and it absolutely is an extremely dangerous plant, because, like I said, it can be confused with an edible one, and even if you ate it in small amounts, it can be really bad for you, and it should be treated. I think I read, the number of deaths per year are quite low, but the fact that it can kill you is reason enough to steer clear of it, and it should be treated as a deadly poisonous. But saying that, it is edible to certain creatures. I mean, you can see from the ones up by there that they have been eaten and they have been nibbled by things, and generally slugs can tolerate what's in them, and also red squirrels, interestingly, can eat them. Unfortunately, we have no red squirrels around by us here, and reindeers apparently will seek them out and eat them. So yeah, quite interesting that other animals, how other animals can tolerate the things that are poisonous to us. But the poison that's in it, it's been used actually in religious ceremonies for over 4,000 years, because it can have this kind of effect, like a hallucinogenic effect on people. And for that reason, it's been used in lots of religious ceremonies, and it's quite sacred in India and Iran, and it's been used in lots of sacred rituals there. Now, these are the traditional ones that we recognise from, from fairy stories and from traditional tales. And it even appears in Alice in Wonderland when she's given some to eat. During the Edwardian and Victorian times, these fly agarics was seen as a sign of good luck, and they started to be used as a symbol of good luck on Christmas cards and greeting cards. It's also thought that this colouring, this red and white colouring, was the inspiration for Santa Claus's red and white suit. So there we go, the fly agaric. It's just such a beautiful fungi to see at this time of year, and even though it's common, I always feel so fortunate and so pleased to find it. I mean, my kids were so excited to see these today, and it was, oh, it's the fairy fungus. Yeah, it's the ones that, you know, traditionally see a little fairy sat on top. So yeah, lots of excitement around them. But like I say, I mean, they need to be considered as deadly poisonous. So, you know, please don't go try and picking them, and actually just leave them be, because if we leave them this year, they'll obviously spread and there'll be more for next year. So there we go, a real autumn treat to go out and try and find. Good luck.